David Drucker now, senior correspondent for the Washington Examiner. David, good to see you.
Good to see you, Shepard.
When it devolves to, wow, the way I worship God is so much cooler and better and more important than the way you worship God, you, if nothing else, realize how oversized and outdated this Iowa beginning is. It's like, who does this make sense to, you know?
Well, look, I'm sure a lot of Americans look at this and wonder what the heck's going on, but this is what happens when a campaign actually gets closer to the voting. We're now less than 100 days to Iowa. And when that starts to happen, candidates who think they might lose or run behind start to make moves, and you also see voters start to think more clearly about their choice. And so you usually see a little bit of a shift, if not a huge shift, from summer polls to fall polls.
And during that process, often the winnowing has happened within one party, right? I mean, we're in a week-to-week sort of ping-pong thing last year, but for the moment at least, the two outsiders are Trump and Carson.
That's correct, and they've held sway through most of the campaign. But I wouldn't be surprised to see things shook up even more. And let's talk about Iowa for a second. As much as the winner of the caucuses over the past couple of presidential cycles hasn't done much, Iowa can play a really important role this time, and that's about the winnowing. And imagine Donald Trump. The whole premise of his candidacy so far has been about strength and about winning. And if for no other reason that's what Trump talks about. I'm winning in all the polls. I'm ahead in all the polls. What do I need a pollster? I'm winning in all the polls. He's no longer winning in all of the polls. And if he loses Iowa, I think it really could puncture a hole in his candidacy, in the balloon of his candidacy, and it's a big problem for him going forward because the whole premise of his campaign is destroyed.
There was a time when candidates needed to seem in touch with the every guy. Like, every guy understand. My father, for instance, used to put a $100 bill in an aluminum foil in the mail about once every couple of months when I was young and struggling with a new wife. And when that $100 bill would come, it was like manna from heaven. Well, Donald Trump had a similar experience. Look.
It's not been easy for me. It has not been easy for me. And, you know, I started off in Brooklyn. My father gave me a small loan of $1 million. I came into Manhattan, and I had to pay him back, and I had to pay him back with interest.
True American story.
Hey, it's tough when your big struggle is starting out in Brooklyn. Look, Shep, I think that for a lot of candidates, this would be a huge gaffe. I do think in this case, Donald Trump will weather it without any gaffe issues because a lot of his voters really like him, and it hasn't mattered this entire time that he flies around in his own plane and talks about his wealth. So this is just another part of that.
If Donald Trump and Ben Carson are on center stage now, who's waiting next in the wings? Does it feel at all like Marco Rubio is that guy now?
I think it's Rubio and Cruz waiting next in the wings. And look, on Wednesday in the next debate, it's going to be Rubio next to center stage, next to Trump, not Bush. And I think that, people like me who are following this thing, I want to see what Rubio does, what kind of organization he's building. I want to see how Cruz maximizes what so far has been a very good campaign, but he's going to have to make some moves in Iowa and elsewhere where the air is being so far taken up by Trump and Carson. And let's see if Rubio becomes the new lane for the more governing-minded Republicans, essentially replacing Jeb Bush.
Fall is in the air. David Drucker, nice to see you. Thanks.
Same here. Thank you.